Federal agents make 3 arrests of people connected to one of the San Bernardino shooters. We'll tell you what prosecutors are saying. The president of San Diego State gets surrounded by student protesters, and we'll tell you what they are demanding. And a new report says San Diego has the highest C-section rate of urban areas in California. Our media partner, iNewsSource, dives into the numbers.
People began to see that how hate looked.
More than 50 years later, and the effects of the bombing of the 16th Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, are still being felt today. We talked to the 5th little girl in the basement who survived the attack. This is Evening Edition on KPBS. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Federal agents say they have arrested 3 people connected to one of the San Bernardino shooters. Prosecutors say they're accused of a marriage fraud conspiracy. The people arrested include the brother and sister-in-law of Syed Farouk. He is the San Bernardino County employee who died in a gun battle with police after killing 14 people. Agents also arrested one of the Farouk's female friends. None of the 3 arrested today are charged in the terror attack. A student protest at San Diego State got the university president's attention. Yesterday, about 70 students surrounded a police car he was riding in. They wanted Elliot Hirschman to condemn flyers being passed on campus, comparing several Muslim students with terrorists. Hirschman did eventually apologize on behalf of the administration. The students say they expect to meet privately with him to discuss the issue. SDSU officials say an ongoing effort to educate students about sexual assault seems to be working. Today, the school released the results of a survey asking students about assaults on or near campus and about attitudes regarding sexual violence. The school has been working for the past year on educating students about issues such as affirmative consent for sexual activity, often referred to as yes means yes.
92% of our students felt confident that they really understood what affirmative consent meant on SDSU's campus, and that's a really good place to start. So those messages are getting through.
And the report says 15% of the students who responded said they'd experienced some form of unwanted sexual contact. The school says that's lower than the national average for college campuses. Tomorrow, the San Diego Association of Governments is set to vote on a sales tax increase to fund transportation projects. But we already know a few people's votes, and some of them are surprising. KPBS reporter Claire Trageser has been following the story and joins us now. Claire, first, please remind us what the SANDAG board is voting on.
This would be a 0.5% sales tax increase for everyone in San Diego County. It would raise more than $18 billion over 40 years to fund a variety of transportation projects, from highways to public transit.
And not everyone likes the idea, right?
No, it has opposition on both sides. Some Republicans don't like it because it's a tax increase, and environmentalists don't like it because they say it spends too much money on roads and highways and not enough on things like public transit, bike lanes, and crosswalks.
And now we know where Mayor Kevin Faulconer stands. Can you give us the backstory on that?
Yes, the mayor surprised a lot of people yesterday by saying he plans to vote no on the measure. The mayor in the past has not gone to many SANDAG meetings, even though he's on the board, so the fact that he's going and taking a stand against the ballot measure is a big deal. Environmental leaders say that's because he's voting no because they pressured him. Nicole Capritz says she told him she'd speak out and say he isn't doing enough to support the city of San Diego's climate action plan unless he voted no on this measure. That's because she says the two are intrinsically linked.
The plan undermines the city's climate goals, so it's not supportable. His vote will reflect the connection between the SANDAG tax measure and the climate action plan.
And what about other elected officials? Do we know how they'll vote?
Yeah, yesterday, City Councilman Todd Gloria confirmed he will vote yes on the measure, as will County Supervisor Ron Roberts. Sandag votes are usually unanimous, so it'll be interesting to see tomorrow how the vote plays out and whether we'll see this tax increase on our November ballot.
KPBS reporter Claire Trageser, thank you. The newest report on San Diego's economy shows some improvement. The University of San Diego's index of leading economic indicators rose 0.4% last month. The index measures things like unemployment and local stock prices, which were up. It also looks at building permits and consumer confidence. Both were down in March. Last night, a forum brought together the 4 Democrats vying to replace incumbent Marty Emerald on the San Diego City Council. The candidates agreed on most issues, including not funding a Charger stadium and boosting neighborhood services. At one point, they were asked what idea they'd borrow from another city, and here's what they said.
I think that focusing on the environment and increasing compliance with the environmental regulations would be one thing that I think would benefit the city tremendously.
Right now, if you live in the city of San Diego, you're calling about 10 different numbers to get services. For a light, for a street, you got to call all these different numbers. At some point, we are now implementing this system where you'll call one number, 311.
We need to get money out of politics. It's eroding our democracy locally and nationwide. So, I think that is the root. You start from there, you really systemically change our system.
There are many other cities, major cities, that have an amazing first-class transit system, and I want to see that in San Diego.
The top 2 vote-getters in the June 7th election will go on to run in November. The 5-member San Diego County Board of Supervisors has a bigger budget than the city of San Diego, $5 billion. But elections for county supervisors often fly under the radar. 3 seats on the board are up for re-election this year, but only 1 is seriously contested. The 3rd district seat held by Dave Roberts, the lone Democrat on the board. KPBS North County Bureau reporter Allison St. John says 2 Republican challengers are vying to unseat him.
Dave Roberts' campaigners at a recent candidates forum include his adopted children. Roberts won't keep his seat without a fight because while everyone else on the County Board of Supervisors has served 20 years or more, Dave Roberts got into trouble in his first 4-year term.
I had some personnel issues in my office last year. I immediately took responsibility. The DA has now made a decision. We've moved on. This is about leadership, and this is about providing real solutions to real problems.
The district attorney has decided not to pursue criminal charges, but one of Roberts' 2 challengers, Escondido Mayor Sam Abed, is not about to let the supervisor off the hook that easy.
Dave Roberts should either resign or we will vote him out of office. It's as simple. He has violated the public trust.
This is all about partisan politics, says the chair of the San Diego Democratic Party, Francine Busby, who thinks Roberts is suffering from a history of Republican control on the powerful county board.
Dave is the only Democrat on that board. He's the only Democrat in 20 years that's been on that board. And frankly, if the Republicans feel they can take that seat back, they will do everything they can. So there's definitely a political component to this.
The chair of San Diego's Republican Party, Tony Crivaric, confirms this.
We should not have lost this seat to begin with. There was an Obama wave back in 2012. That won't be there now, and we will do everything we can to take it back this time.
Both parties are thinking ahead, says longtime political consultant Tom Shepard. The next 2 supervisors to be termed out, Ron Roberts and Greg Cox, have districts with a predominantly Democratic electorate. So Dave Roberts' seat could become pivotal.
The 3rd district then becomes kind of a swing seat, and I think there's a desire on the part of both parties to get their guy or gal elected.
But getting a supervisor elected is expensive. The districts are as large as congressional districts, with about 300,000 registered voters each. In the 3rd district, registered Republicans outnumber Democrats. But Shepard says the inland Republicans have different values from the coastal Republicans.
They created a district that does kind of span 2 different cultures almost, from Escondido to the small coastal communities. And it's what makes it difficult to represent that district, and it's why I think Sam has a potential solid base of support in Escondido, but questionable ability to expand it beyond that city.
Robert's second challenger, a coastal Republican, is Encinitas Mayor Kristen Gaspar. Gaspar is well aware of the need to appeal across party lines.
We have what I call coastal Republicans that can vote either way. In both of my election, I was able to have 20% above GOP registration voting for me in those elections. That's an important quality that will come in handy come June, November in the supervisor race. You have to be able to appeal along the coast to be successful in this race.
Gaspar has won political support on environmental quality of life issues and believes she would have broader appeal than Abed in a runoff with Roberts in November. But Abed, whose brand is far more conservative, has a trump card: the endorsement of the San Diego Republican Party.
We're going to be over $500,000. We are already over $300,000. I think I'm leading in the fundraiser effort. And now, the Republican Party is going to support us in the primary and in the general election. So there is a lot of resources for our campaign to win.
Gaspar has endorsements from San Diego's Chamber of Commerce and Republican Mayor Kevin Faulkner. She's not fazed that the Republican Party chose to support her rival in this race.
So while it would be nice to have their endorsement, it may turn out to be a blessing in disguise as we watch the voters that turn out this June and this November. You may see a new pool of voters that are interested in something different, something new.
We can presume that Roberts will get through the primary. His fate, to some extent, I think, depends on the outcome of the second place finisher. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
Allison St. John, KPBS News.
And KPBS video journalist Chris Arciaga helped produce that story. You can find all of our election coverage online anytime at kpbs.org/election. A new report says nearly 1 in 3 low-risk pregnancies in San Diego County ends in a surgical birth. The cesarean section rate here is highest in the state among urban counties. iNews Source reporter Cheryl Clark has been looking into the numbers. Now, Cheryl, is there any guidance on what the C-section rates should be?
Yes, Maya, the federal government, our health agency, thinks it's reasonable for C-section rates to be no higher than 23.9%. Now, we're talking about low-risk moms. Those are first-time mothers giving birth to one baby in the normal position. Now, San Diego County's rate is 29.7%. That's higher than LA, which is 27.8%.
Wow, that is high, and you found that only one hospital in the area was at or below the target. Which one was it?
That was UCSD Medical Center. All the rest are either at the target or over it. But the biggest driver of our high rate is Sharp Mary Birch Hospital, which delivers more babies than any other hospital in the state. Sharp's rate is almost 34%, but Scripps Memorial in La Jolla is just behind that with 33.2%. We listed all the rates for all California hospitals on our website, inewssource.org.
Are there certain practices behind these high rates?
Yes, Maya, there are. The key thing seems to be how long the hospital team is willing to let a woman labor before saying, oh, well, time's up. We're preparing you for surgery. Now, there are newer protocols that say longer labors are okay, but adoption of those as policy in some places has been slow. But it's not just the hospital's policies. Researchers who've looked into these C-section rates say patients and their families, as well as hurried physicians, may be just too impatient and jump to surgery too soon.
So what we found out is that in our desire to please our mothers and families, that we may have been giving in to a misunderstanding about what normal labor is, and instead in doing these extra C-sections.
Okay, so Cheryl, what are the risks involved in C-sections and how are they less safe?
Well, there's a lot of complications like infections and bleeding, and they're higher with C-sections, but patients tend to think it's the other way around, that C-sections are even safer, and doctors perhaps don't explain these risks to the extent that they should. Here's Dr. Moore again explaining that.
The risk of significant hemorrhage requiring transfusion is more than doubled when you have a cesarean section. It obviously takes twice as long to recover from a cesarean section. It is 4 times as common after a cesarean section or in the process of a cesarean section to have injury of intestines, bladder, tearing of uterine structures, and getting an infection. These things are very rare with a vaginal birth.
So is anything being done to lower these C-section rates?
Yes, Sharp and Scripps are now posting each obstetrician C-section rates in the doctors' lounges, so the entire medical staff can see their colleagues' data. That way doctors can't say, well, you know, my patients were sicker, if they really weren't. So also many hospitals are urging the use of doulas or labor coaches to assure mom that things are proceeding normally.
iNews Source healthcare reporter Cheryl Clark, thank you. And you can find more of Cheryl's reporting and the data online at inewssource.org. September 15th, 1963. It was a Sunday morning. The time was 10:22 in the morning, and 5 little girls were in the basement of the 16th Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. That was the time a racially motivated terrorist attack took the lives of 4 of those little girls and injured more than 20 other people. The explosion was felt throughout the city and continues to be felt within Sarah Collins Rudolph, also known as the 5th little girl in the basement. She survived that morning. She spoke to me about what it was like to live through the attack, then and now. It's been 53 years since you became a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, you were 12 years old.
Yes.
What are some of the last things you remember about that event that happened?
Well, I remember mostly all of it. You know, what happened that morning is when Denise asked Addie to tie the sash on her dress. And when she reached her hand out to tie it, that's when the bomb went off. And the debris came in, and I was blinded from the debris. And I called on Addie. I called her name, but she didn't answer. So I thought the girls had ran back on the Sunday school side of the church, but I found later on that I was the only survivor.
Addie was your sister.
Addie, yes.
And she was one of 4 girls who died that morning. Cynthia Wesley, Denise McNair, Carol Robertson, and Addie Mae Collins, your big sister.
Yes.
At the time, your photograph, right after the tragedy, was put in Life magazine.
Yes.
Where you had bandages on your eyes, and you were horrifically injured.
Yes.
Do you think that that picture, which sparked outrage throughout the country, played a role in the way attitudes shifted at the time?
Well, I think the people began to see that how hate looked, and I think that really want to change a lot of people.
In the day and age that we live in now, hate crimes in places of worship have become much more common. What do you want people now to know about what you lived with over 50 years ago?
Well, I want them to know that really it was a lot of suffering at that time, and like I said, it was a lot of people that died and suffered for us to have our civil rights and to get, voting rights. So I just want the young people to know when they get up to age to register to vote, to go out and vote, and try to. I like to tell them to try to stay out of these gangs, because our city of Birmingham, they are want to build more jails, and we have a lot of our young people now that are locked up in jail.
What are your thoughts and your attitudes towards those who caused harm to you, your family members, and your friends?
Well, after it had happened, I was really angry, and I really, at the age of 12, I didn't understand, and I really started hating Caucasians for what they did. But I know I just couldn't continue to keep that in my heart. So I had to forgive them. And only thing that I was really most angry about was how long it took them to put them on trial. It took too long. And just seeing my sister and my friends get killed like that, it hurted me for a long time. And yet, you know, when I think about it, when I think about how those other 4 girls was killed, I still cry, you know, and it still hurts.
And you're still living with that pain today?
Yes, still. You don't get over it because every time I look in the mirror at the scars on my face, I am reminded of it every day.
Sarah Collins-Rudolph, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And more than a decade later, a white supremacist, Robert Chambliss, was convicted on 4 counts of murder for his role in the bombing. It wasn't until the year 2000 3 other men were named as suspects in the attack.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour. Business backlash against laws in North Carolina that many say discriminate against the LGBT community. That's Thursday on the PBS News Hour.
The unpleasant task of disposing of a rotting whale carcass got underway today near San Clemente. KPBS's Deb Welsh has the story.
California parks officials say it was decided that it would be impractical to tow the 40-foot whale out to sea or to bury it at San Onofre State Beach. Instead, the carcass of the 30-ton gray whale is being cut up and will be trucked to a landfill. Beach Superintendent Rich Hayden says an emergency contractor is handling the disposal, which is expected to take several days at a cost of about $30,000. After wintering in Baja California lagoons, gray whales are migrating north along the west coast. Animal experts say it's likely this whale died of natural causes. Deb Welsh, KPBS News.
Major League Baseball has tapped 2 former Padres to be official spokesmen for this year's All-Star Game. The league says relief pitcher Trevor Hoffman and right fielder Dave Winfield will help generate awareness about the game and all the events that go with it, from the Fan Fest to community projects. The All-Star Game takes place at Petco Park on July 12th. Parts of the county got some April showers today. Did you? Heather Waldman tells us what we can expect for the weekend in tonight's KPBS Weather Report.
Well, the clouds have been stubborn so far today in Southern California. That's all thanks to this area of low pressure centered just to the east of Las Vegas. You can see that counterclockwise rotation. Most of the wet weather has been in the desert southwest out towards the Four Corners. But if we go in a little closer, there were a couple of showers in San Diego County earlier, and some will continue to bubble up through this evening. Most of tonight will stay dry as that low continues to clear off to the east. We'll see improving weather over the next couple of days, but we do have to deal with those morning low clouds over the next couple of days. Tonight, mainly clear to start as those showers fizzle out, but then the onshore flow kicks back in later on, and we'll see more clouds at the coast. Some patchy clouds inland, too, especially early on. Temperatures will be in the low 50s at Oceanside, 54 in Chula Vista, down into the 30s in Mount Laguna, so some places dropping below the freezing mark. We'll stay chilly and unsettled as we go through the end of this week in the Four Corners. But again, as that storm moves away, temperatures along the California coast get to come up. Again, dealing with that marine layer. The next couple of days should be dry, but as we go into Saturday, another area of low pressure is going to clip the region. Check that out in just a minute. Here's a look at your 5-day forecast for the coast. Clouds in the morning on Friday, then some more sunshine for the afternoon. Temperatures recover into the 70s. Saturday, here comes that area of low pressure. We could see a shower, perhaps even a heavier thunderstorm in spots. The clouds around will keep the temperatures in the low 60s. Pleasant weather picks up from Sunday through Tuesday. Highs will be in the low to mid 70s with lots of sunshine. Farther inland, again, clouds to start, then more sunshine Friday afternoon. Here, too, we'll be watching for a thunderstorm in spots to end the day on Saturday. Some clouds still lingering on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday look great. Temperatures come up a few degrees into the mid-70s for your lunch breaks there to start the week. So good chance to get out of the office and enjoy the sunshine. Into the mountains, a lot of sunshine. Not catching, of course, those coastal clouds. Will be cooler Saturday as well as that low drops in from the north and west. Not going to see any wet weather from that storm, though. Temperatures will be in the lower 50s. Overnight lows will be in the mid-30s. We'll recover into the 60s on Saturday, although that storm system starts to move eastward, and that could trigger a shower or two. Lots of sunshine Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures will be bumping right back up into the lower 70s. Into the deserts, missing most of the unsettled weather as we go through Friday into Saturday. A few clouds may dot the sky on Sunday, but we'll stay mostly sunny Monday into Tuesday. Temperatures will climb from the mid-80s back into the middle 90s. Heather Waldman for KPBS News.
I want to be the next mayor of San Diego, really? Well, all right, what's your name?
Now that's some competition. An ice cream for a dream. Hundreds of students from Cesar Chavez Elementary School shared their goals and dreams with San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer and Police Chief Shelley Zimmerman today. In exchange, the students got free ice cream.
It's important to let the kids know that they have the support of the adults. They have their support of their city. They have the support of their parents and their families and their teacher. And to give them the pride and the confidence to share what they want to do and what they want to be.
The event intended to motivate students to turn their dreams into reality. Now here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. California Attorney General Kamala Harris has missed a deadline in bringing a key criminal charge in the San Onofre nuclear power plant investigation. What that could mean for ratepayers tomorrow on Mid-Morning Edition on KPBS Radio. That's at 89.5 FM. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. From all of us here at KPBS, thanks for watching. Have a great evening. Good night.